always ready. That's breaking news coverage you can count on.
Is. So it does include 540, Highway 50 in northern Wake County. A little bit closer, you can see it's a very small area and it's a very tight couplet as well. Let me jump over to the velocities so we can look inside the storm and see the rotation. Let me turn on that radar, and there we go. And you can definitely see the couplet that's showing up. Let's take a look at the area, and it's this region here. You see the reds and the greens butted up against each other. That's where we're seeing that rotation showing up, and this is moving to the north at about 20 miles per hour. The actual warning says tornado warning for north central Wake County until 6 o'clock. The storm's moving north at 20. It's a radar indicated tornado. Now, this is a little area of rotation, and I'll go back in time and show you where it was over Johnston County around the McGee's Crossroads area, moving over the radar site over eastern Wake County, actually east of downtown on Highway 64, and now has ventured into this neighborhood here. Let me clear this off, and I'll do a storm track moving north at about 20 miles per hour. Give me 1 second, and moving to the north at about 20 miles per hour, and see what towns show up or what locations show up. And let me put a few more towns on the map, go back to the default and see what shows up. And basically Butner and the Lyons community between 628 and 629. So if you're in the path, you need to stay in your safe place or get to your safe place and remain there until the storm does pass. So let me clear this off, broaden out the view. Let's go back in time, 45 minutes, so you can see the gradual trend. Let me zoom in a little bit closer and go back into Johnston County. So again, this is something we've been watching for a little while. If we could take this full screen, that would be a whole lot better so we can get a closer idea. Let's go back in time 2 hours and see the progress of this little couplet. And you can see there, it started around the Benson area, around 3:38 this afternoon. It's this area here that we see just north of Benson. You see the greens butted up against the reds. That's where the rotation is showing up at that point. And it's been something that's been showing up on radar, not looking too menacing. The Weather Service didn't issue a tornado warning at that point, and it loses its definitiveness. It's not as well defined. It's broad around 4 o'clock, and then it tries to take shape again as it's moving closer to the Wake County line. And then it's lost in the radar, what we call the cone of silence, so to speak, moving right over the radar site. And then let's zoom in a little bit more so you can get a better idea. Moves over Garner. It's ill-defined. You can't really see it all that well. And it's really lost. And then right there, over just to the east of downtown near Nightdale, we can get a little bit closer, Pool Road area, Glass Clock Street and the Beltline there. You see it coming together, and then it looks like it's reforming a little bit more as you head farther north. There's Capitol Boulevard. There is New Hope Church Road. There's the northern part of the Beltline. And as we go through time, it's now between Six Forks Road, Spring Forest Road, Atlantic Avenue, and the last radar scan, it's not looking as well defined. You can see how the reds are a little bit brighter here. That would indicate the winds are stronger. That was at 527, and then we get up to 532, and the colors are a little bit more muted, and the rotation is a little bit broader. It doesn't look quite as tight, but it still necessitated a tornado warning from the National Weather Service. And again, this goes until about 6 o'clock. And let me zoom in a little bit closer. So if you're watching from Spring Forest Road, Lynn Road, Six Forks Road, Newton Road, that's where we're seeing the greatest rotation show up on the radar. It may not be on the ground. It's probably not on the ground because the way the couplet looks, in my mind, doesn't look like something that's on the ground, but there could be a funnel cloud. You could, if you were to step outside, which we don't really want you to do, you would probably see some rotation in this area and heading up toward the north. So as we go through time, this will eventually move over Strickland Road. It'll head over 540, getting up to Durant Road and Six Forks Road, and eventually head up toward Norwood Road. And again, it's moving to the north at 20, but you see the way the polygon is designed here. It's not moving really due north. It's following the way the polygon is drawn, so it's basically moving in this direction. So I would say more north-northwest movement is where it's headed. So again, if you're watching from Six Forks Road and Honeycutt Road, Norwood Road, that's the area that would be impacted. Let me zoom in a little bit closer so we can see some of the more close-up streets. So it's Ravenscroft Drive, it's Old Deer Trail, Clearbrook Drive, also Morning Dove Road. That would be where the greatest rotation is showing up. So that's where I would be concerned that there would be a funnel cloud right now. And again, the way the rotation is set up, it doesn't look all that menacing right now. Let me jump over to a different product. Severe threats, so showing the purple, which would indicate the possibility of a little bit of hail. And there is the shear rate. This shows where the rotation is, and it is actually showing some strong rotation located right over Newton Road. If you wanted to get more specific where the rotation was being seen, this is where the radar is saying it is, between Newton Road and Strickland Road. Let me get a little bit closer. Clear Brook Drive, Old Deer Trail, Newton Road, Sweet Bay Lane. That's where the greatest energy or rotation is showing up with the tornado warning right now. So let me broaden out the view again, and let's take this back in time to see what it looked like as it evolved. And you can see the Weather Service has had their eye on this because we've been watching their chat room showing how this has been going. And notice how 5:16, you lose the strong rotation, then it starts to pick back up. And then finally, the Weather Service pulls the trigger and issues the tornado warning. And notice the rotation was far stronger at 5:26. And then it kind of gets lost just a little bit. That's not quite as strong. So what's basically been going on, it tightens up and then it broadens out and then it'll tighten up and it will broaden out. So it's in one of its tightening phases right now, and worrisome enough that the National Weather Service issued a tornado warning. Now I have to say, this is only the beginning. I probably won't see a whole lot of tornado warnings this evening because when I showed Futurecast the last half hour,